Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today we're diving into a really interesting conversation with someone who has been consistently showing up, sharing deep insights on his blog and podcast, and asking the hard questions about where we are going. He's been transparent about his journey, and in that spirit, he's addressing 3 questions that he says keep popping up. It's a candid look behind the scenes, and I'm really excited to get into it. So let's just jump right in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. You know, it's been quite a journey since I really committed to writing more consistently and, of course, launching the podcast. And it's true, these questions, they just keep coming from friends, family, and especially the readers. And honestly, they're incredibly fair questions. I mean, when you see someone dedicating this much time and effort to a blog in, say, 2025, it's pretty natural to pause and wonder, right? You ask yourself, why are they doing this? Is there money involved? What's the real motivation behind all of this effort? So yeah, I'm really happy to lay it all out there, just as I've promised to be transparent from the beginning.
That transparency is definitely appreciated. Let's tackle the first one, the one everyone seems to be curious about. Are you actually making any money from this?
The short answer, which might surprise some, is a very clear no. In fact, if we're being completely honest here, it actually costs me money. There are hosting fees for the website, various tool subscriptions that help me with everything from editing to distribution, and probably the most expensive component of all, my time. It's a significant investment, both financially and in terms of personal bandwidth. I think we've all been a bit conditioned by the internet, haven't we? This idea that every single hobby or passion project must inherently be a side hustle that generates income. We tend to think that if something isn't making money, then it somehow doesn't make sense or isn't a worthwhile endeavor. But for me, that's just not the driving force here. I'm genuinely not writing for currency. I'm writing for a very different kind of value, clarity.
That's a really interesting way to put it, writing for clarity rather than currency. So if it's not about the money, what exactly is the clarity you're seeking, both for yourself and for your audience?
Well, for myself, primarily, writing is this incredibly powerful tool that forces me to organize my thoughts. My mind, like many people's, can be a bit chaotic, filled with scattered ideas and half-formed concepts. Writing helps me bring structure to that chaos, to really distill those thoughts into something coherent and understandable. And actually, being structured isn't about being rigid or closed off to new ideas at all. It's the opposite. By organizing what's in my head, I create mental space. I clear the clutter, which then allows me to actually see new ideas, make unexpected connections, and gain a clearer perspective on how to interpret this rapidly changing world around us. It's a personal intellectual exercise, really. For you, the reader and listener, I mean, let's face it, we are absolutely inundated with information and countless opinions every single day. Navigating that flood can be incredibly challenging and honestly quite overwhelming. Personally, I try my best not to take definitive sides on issues. My true goal is to offer a more neutral, independent kind of analysis. I want to provide insights that genuinely help you, the audience, connect the dots yourself, to form your own informed conclusions, rather than simply telling you what to think. It's about providing a framework, not a dogma.
That makes a lot of sense, and I've also noticed you touch on wellness practices quite a bit. How does that tie into this pursuit of clarity, and what's the reality check you mentioned?
You know, when I write about wellness, the first and most important thing I want to convey is that it is absolutely easier said than done. Anything I share, any practice I recommend, I honestly struggle to do myself on a consistent basis. There are always internal factors like motivation or self-doubt, and external factors like a busy schedule or life's unexpected turns that get in the way. But the crucial part is, I try not to stop. I want to give that exact same message to everyone reading and listening. In the past, I've often felt halted, totally discouraged by looking at other people's seemingly perfect success stories. But I've come to realize that everyone's life journey is unique. It's just so different. Some people set very specific, ambitious destinations, while for someone else, the goal is simply to enjoy the journey itself, no matter where it leads. Some might aim for a short hike, others dream of climbing Mount Everest. Comparing my progress or my success with theirs simply won't get me anywhere. It just leads to frustration. And if you ever find yourself really inspired by someone's great success, my advice is to learn from their struggles, from their process, not just from where they are right now, at the peak. This blog for me serves as a constant public reminder of what I was doing, what I am doing, and crucially, where I aspire to reach.
That's a powerful message, especially in today's compare and contrast culture. Beyond personal clarity and helping your audience, you also mentioned authority and legacy. Can you elaborate on those aspects?
Definitely. In a world that's just brimming with noise, true credibility really comes from consistency. I want to build a public record of my thinking, a documented evolution of my thoughts and perspectives. It's proof, if you will, that I don't just complain about problems, I genuinely try to understand them, to structure potential solutions, and to articulate my journey. This blog isn't just a collection of articles, it's my living portfolio of ideas, accessible for anyone to review. And then there's legacy. This is a very personal one for me. One day, my daughter will be old enough to truly ask deep questions about the world, about what her father thought, what he stood for, what he believed in. I want to have a comprehensive, thoughtful answer ready for her. Regardless of how widely these ideas spread or how many people they reach, I'm essentially building a time capsule for her. This entire platform, in a very real sense, is her archive, a collection of my thoughts and observations for her future self.
That's incredibly touching and a beautiful vision. So that's a truly comprehensive answer to the first question. Let's move on to the second big one that's been coming up. What is your niche?
The dreaded niche question. The short answer, and it might sound a bit cheeky, is that I don't really have one. Or, perhaps more accurately, I am the niche. You see, in digital marketing, which is my day job, the absolute first rule you learn is pick a niche. You're constantly told you should be the politics guy, or the tech guy, or the diaspora guy, and specialize. But I'm a human, right? I'm not a marketing funnel to be narrowly defined. I'm a Nepali who, quite simply, wants to flourish right here in my own country, in my own home, surrounded by my family, relatives, and friends. I'm also a digital marketer who is absolutely fascinated by the rapid advancements in AI and its potential. I'm a father trying his best to raise a child in London, navigating all the complexities that come with that, and a son who's trying to fulfill various family duties and responsibilities. I'm constantly striving to keep myself grounded through wellness practices, genuinely working towards being mentally and physically healthy, and I deeply want to see that same well-being in the people around me. Ultimately, at my core, I just want to see a better world filled with happy, thriving people. If I were to stick to just one niche, I'm pretty sure I would get incredibly bored very quickly, and eventually, I just quit. So, Saurav Insights is exactly what it sounds like. It's my insights across all these different facets of my life and interests.
I love that. I am the niche. So if you had to define Saurav Insights as a niche, what would be the common thread through all those diverse interests you've just described?
If I absolutely had to define a niche for Saurav Insights, it would be connecting the dots. That's really what drives me. I thoroughly enjoy taking different subjects, whether it's politics, technology, personal development, or life in general, and then analyzing them, looking for those hidden connections, and trying to put them into simple, understandable words. As I gain clarity on things myself, as I piece together these different aspects of the world, I genuinely believe that I can add value to others who are also trying to make sense of it all. It's about finding the underlying patterns and relationships that might not be immediately obvious, and then sharing that perspective in a way that resonates.
That's a fantastic way to frame it. And finally, the third recurring question, the one that's probably on a lot of people's minds, especially with your work, why all the AI?
The AI question. My short answer to that one is pretty straightforward, because I desperately need a ghostwriter, not a boss. The long answer really dives into the reality of my life. I have a full-time job, which is demanding. I have a baby at home, which, as any parent knows, takes up an incredible amount of time and energy. Plus, I'm navigating visa struggles here in London, which adds its own layer of stress and administrative tasks. All of this means my hours for creative output are incredibly limited. I'm certainly not a professional orator with a dedicated home studio. What I am, though, is someone who loves to think, and someone who feels a strong need to express myself. My Notes app, I tell you, is absolutely bursting with ideas. So, I use AI tools, specifically Aipodify and Gemini, as a force multiplier. It's not about replacing my thinking at all. It's about enabling my publishing. It helps me structure those messy ideas I have, transforming them into coherent articles or scripts. It helps me turn written text into audio so people can listen while they commute or do other tasks, not just have to sit down and read. Without these AI tools, honestly, most of these ideas would probably just stay locked in my head. With AI, they can actually make it into your inbox and your headphones.
So it's really about facilitating the creative process and getting your voice out there, rather than just letting AI do all the heavy lifting for you then.
Exactly. It's really not as light touch or as simple as many people might think. I don't just, ask an AI model like Gemini to write an article about a specific topic and then immediately hit publish. Absolutely not. There are several rounds of brainstorming involved, sometimes with the AI, sometimes just me hashing out ideas. I'm constantly adding my own thoughts, editing the AI's output, refining the language, and ensuring it truly reflects my voice and my perspective. The AI is a powerful assistant in that process, not the sole author. And honestly, if I had a human ghostwriter who had to go through all these iterative rounds of brainstorming, editing, and refining with me, they would have probably gotten bored, tired, and quit by now. The AI, thankfully, doesn't quit. It just keeps working with me until we get it right.
That's a fascinating look into your process and how you leverage technology. Given all these insights, what can your readers and listeners expect from Saurav Insights moving forward? What's next?
Well, I really like to keep my life dynamic, and I truly want this blog and podcast to reflect that. I refuse to narrow down the path because, frankly, life itself isn't narrow. However, I do want people to know what they can generally expect. Firstly, the lens will absolutely stay the same. Whether I'm writing about a political crisis, a new marketing strategy, or a personal challenge, I will always be looking for the underlying structure, how things truly work, and critically, how we can make them better. Secondly, the topics will definitely evolve. For example, I've almost reached 1 full month of what I call my political detox. And you know what? Now, when I scroll through social media, I'm actually seeing interesting things again, instead of just feeling rage or frustration. So expect to see more insights on digital marketing and AI, not just for experts, but on practical ways we can all use these incredible tools to grow our own personal projects, our businesses, or even just our understanding. I really want to connect these modern developments to the things we sometimes overlook, our personal growth, and the health of our communities. And thirdly, politics isn't entirely gone. If I come across something genuinely positive and meaningful in Nepali politics, or during an upcoming election, or perhaps regarding some diaspora activities that I'm personally involved in, I will absolutely write about it. But the focus will always be on solutions, on positive contributions, not just on adding to the noise or complaining.
That's a great roadmap, and it sounds like you're also encouraging your community to be a part of shaping that future.
Exactly. That's incredibly important to me. As this community continues to grow, I genuinely want to be guided by you. I don't want to just broadcast my thoughts into a void. I want to actively answer the questions that you, the audience, actually have. Whether it's about navigating life as an expat here in the UK, understanding specific AI tools, or perhaps a deep dive into analyzing a particular political event, please tell me. Don't hesitate. You can comment directly on the posts, or even better, message me personally. Your feedback, your questions, and your engagement will truly help direct where we go next with Saurav Insights. So thank you all for reading, for listening, and for having the courage to ask those really hard questions. Please keep them coming.